Also, along with bands coming up, for anyone that's looking at record labels and everything, there's always the stories of record labels, our band and everything. What's something to really look out for when you're going into that area?
Well, the record business basically is over. Sorry, it's done. It's finished. It will always exist in a small way, but the way it was back in the early days is just not there anymore. Things move on, things change, things evolve through time. It happens with all kinds of industries. They're not making buggy whips anymore. Boy, that buggy whip company, they were doing gangbusters back when there was horse and buggy, but they're not around anymore. So it's basically you're making buggy whips and sealing wax, and there's no more. But there are record companies and there are record deals, but it ain't like it used to be. That's why the good news is now it's all up to you, and you can do your own thing. If you sell your own record for $10, it costs you $1 to make it, and however much it costs to record it, but the rest of the money goes right in your pocket. Whereas I do know major label acts that are still on the major label that get a half a cent per download. Even though it's being downloaded for 99 cents or $1.29, 1/2 of a penny goes to them. That's how horrible these deals were. The record business, and this is a fact, got away with stuff that in any other business you would do time. You would go right to jail. It would be a felony in any other industry. But they got away with things contractually. They managed to do things that you just can't do any other place. And there was not really great wisdom at record companies. When Mr. Big put out the Lean Into It record, which had To Be With You, Green Ticket 60's Mine, all this stuff, and they didn't want to release it. We handed it into the label. We got the word from the label. They weren't going to release it. They refused to. There's no hits on the record. We don't like it. Oh, great. So fortunately, we had a really powerful manager who went in screaming and yelling and pounding, literally screaming. The secretaries were ready to call the cops. He was in the president of Atlantic Records' office, and the doors were shaking, and everybody was freaking out. And he forced them to put it out, but they said, okay, we'll put it out, but we're not going to do anything. We're just going to release it. You're on your own. If you want to do a video, you pay for it. If you want to, whatever you want to do, we got nothing to do with this. So we were really at a huge disadvantage. But fortunately, we had a good manager. He got us doing some tours, got things happening. Out of nowhere, this guy, John Terry, in Lincoln, Nebraska, started playing To Be With You. And people started calling up, and he played it more, and they called more, and people started buying at the stores. And this is how deep it goes to the record company. The record company thought it was our friends calling up and us going into the store buying it. So they actually flew a guy to Lincoln, Nebraska to check up on it, to see if that was occurring. And I thought to myself, I didn't know. If I would have known we could have got our friends to go in the store and buy a call, I would have done that instantly. I didn't know that was even possible. I would have cheated right away, But so sure enough, they found out it was real, and it spread to all these other cities all over the U.S. and then started popping up all over different countries. So we had to do a video because we had no video. So scraped together some favors and a budget of about $30,000, which back then was like the catering budget on most videos was $50,000 just to buy the food for the crew, but ours was $30,000. And we borrowed the steel and got it and did a little video inside a train car in Travel Town in North Hollywood. And that was the To Be With You video, which ended up being number one. The song was number one for 3 weeks. And sure enough, we had a meeting with a guy from Atlantic Records for the next record. And I swear to God, he looked me in the eye and said, yep, when we first heard that record, when I heard To Be With You, I called it. He looked me right in the eye and said that. And I don't want to mention Doug Morris's name. Doug Morris. D-O-U-G-M-O-R-R-I. And in fact, that's exactly what happened. So with that kind of thing going on, entrusting your career, life, and art, and your heart and soul to a record company isn't always a good thing. Having said that, now the labels that are left are run by people who love music. All the bean counters are gone. They're up in the higher echelons of pop and stuff that sells millions and millions of records. But the smaller labels, they've got some great people working. Metal Blade, my partner Mike Faley runs Metal Blade Records, and they got a lot of great bands. They're out touring all the time. A lot of great records. So it is possible to get help from a label and have them work with you and develop things for you. But in the meantime, we always did this in Tallis too, in my old band. No matter what advantage we had business-wise, we still kept working like there was no label at all. We did the same thing at Mr. Big. In spite of the fact that we had a label, we would get call sheets this thick of paper of every radio station in the country and phone numbers. And we sit there all day long. Hi, this is Billy Sheehan. I'm Mr. Bailey. Thanks for playing our song. Oh, you want to be in the air? Okay. Hey, hello, St. Paul, Minnesota. This is Billy from Mr. Big. You're listening to WK, my good friend Bob Billingsworth. All right. And we do all day long. All day long. So your fate is in your hands now. And fortunately, there's a lot of resources you can use to take advantage of that. To shoot and edit a video now is super cheap. With Final Cut Pro and a couple of HD cameras that are only $300 or $400 now, you can do a video and do it yourself. You can make a record on really cheap equipment, and it's as good as the records that the most expensive artists in the world are making. The gear you buy, probably right here in the store, you can do a record that's as good as any record there is being made right now. Fact of life. So that's an advantage to you. So I wouldn't worry too much about labels per se. But and there are a lot of great books and a lot of great conferences and a lot of just pay attention, get Billboard magazine, start doing your research, looking at what's happening, look who's coming up, look who's doing well. Do some research, just as you would as a musician. You're listening to other plays and hearing what they're doing and kind of being inspired or whatever from them. The same thing with business. It's the same thing with the business. There's no secret. It's just like any other business. Get a great product. People want to buy it. Let them know about it, and so that they will buy it. And it's as simple as that. On paper. In real life, you got to get pretty creative and make that happen. But all those resources are there for you. So look into it. Get into some books about the music business, about promoting your band. Go to conferences where they talk about that, where you can interview managers and interview modern label people, interview band members. When bands come through town, check them out, see what's going on, see what they're doing on stage live. Successful bands, try and figure out how they got successful, why they got successful, read their interviews, all kinds of research you can do, apply it to your own band and your own thing. Can be done. Anybody in this room could be a huge, giant music star in some capacity. I have complete faith in that is true. But what you got to go through to get there will separate the men from the boys, the girls from the women. That's the thing you need to do. So that's your challenge. Again, like I said before, this gentleman, as far as artistic challenge, it can be the same way business-wise. Does that make sense? Yeah. But record labels are notorious for doing really stupid things. I mean, the Capitol Records in the U.S. didn't want to release the Beatles record. The American audience aren't going to get this. Cheap Trick got turned down like 5 times. All kinds of stuff. There's a million stories like that of all these bands that later became huge. And there's some bands that should have been gigantic and huge and weren't because of the label's mistakes. And for my money, U2 is a huge band, but I think King's X should be bigger. I love U2, they're great. King's X is one of the greatest bands that ever was, ever. Why aren't they bigger than U2? I have no idea. I mean, you can't find a more soulful, awesome, brilliant bass player, tone, voice, Doug Pinnick, come on, unreal, awesome. Ty Tabor's tone and playing, just a great band. So you never know. And then, you see Britney Spears selling millions of records, and you wonder, how could this be? It's a crazy world we live in. But that's how it is, And you got to give credit. I always give credit, even to the Britney Spears or the any number of a long list of people that really don't have a depth as a musician or player or whatever. I still give them credit because making it in the business, like I said before, is as much of an art as being a great player. If you can combine all those together, or if you find somebody who can and apply it to your playing, a good manager, all those things can happen. So that's my story, sad but true. I rest my case, Your Honor. That's my closing argument.